In this series of videos, we're going to go through and look at how to model this concept vehicle using concept of creating basic surfaces for the main forms, making sure they kind of overbuild themselves so that we can find the intersections, and then trim them down either manually or using tools like the surface fillet to be able to kind of get down to the basic shapes and all that we want with this. Okay, this is probably more along the lines of a traditional way of modeling. Definitely a little bit tougher and kind of hard to kind of follow along, and it can be problematic sometimes as far as things not working and trying to get them to work. But as you can see here, you can kind of capture some really neat forms with it, kind of get away from that more spherical shape that I've been showing with the moon truck videos, and more, like I said, into a traditional kind of view of the form. Let me go back in and turn on the model here real quickly. So you can see all the details, the different surfaces that are included with this. So we'll walk through the steps of making this form and all. Now, the file we'd like you to start with this, so you don't have to go through and create all the curves and so forth from the beginning, is going to be this one. It's called Concept Vehicle Modeling Start. And one of the notes with this video, I will include where you can find this file. Okay, either download it or available like in Canvas. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with. Alright, now let me get out of this shaded mode here real quickly. I'll turn that off. Now in the file you will find at the very top, here's the finished model. Okay, shade that real quickly, it's just all in gray, just as you model it. The next one down is the render view that I just showed you. Okay, and then I have a whole series of curves, and you will see these as when I do the finished file here, it will have the basic kind of at the end of the different steps that I want to be talking about. So this can be step 1, basic surfaces. Okay, so I'll put copies of those so that if you go and start file 2, step 2, you can pick up what's already there, so that or you could go and open up step 1 and then start building from step 2. So this is always the completed of the steps, or complete of the sequence, and for like step 1. Okay, so alright, so we're going to go in and turn on bodies curves. Okay, make that visible, and you can see what's here. So once again, this is set up to basically capture the main profiles along the center line, and then also the main, then like in profiles and side profiles and all that's there with the form we're going to look to create. Okay, so to do this, why don't we go ahead and click on this layer called modeling. So as you build things, most of it will go on that layer, some go on the default layer, so I'll try to point those out as we go along. Okay, alright, now the basic tool we're going to use a lot here is going to be this one called the rail tool. Okay, it's currently set in mode, that's why it's showing monorail. Now let me show you what this does. So double click on it to open it up in here, and if you look in here, it normally defaults to 2 and 1, 2 generation curves, meaning like you pick there and then that one for the rail curves, and then there's certain things you can do down underneath here. What we're going to do is set it to 1 and 1, 1 generation curve, 1 rail curve. Okay, and let's start off by clicking on this curve here for the front windshield area. That's going to be the generation curve. You always pick that first. If you're wondering what you're supposed to pick, look up here in the prompt line. Okay, it will typically tell you what kind of input it's looking for. So now it's looking for the rail curve, and there's that form. Okay, now one thing to help make sure the blending across the middle is set up properly is to go in and change under rail 1 to an implied tangency. So it just guarantees that across this center line it will be a nice blend match. There won't be kind of a crown or a little peak or anything like that, or divot with that. Okay, so there's one. Let's go on to the next one, the back one. You don't have to hit next. If you just click on the next curve, it assumes you want to get started again. Okay, although you can click on next, and then you can click on that for the rail. Alright, same settings up here. We are building relative to the rail, not the generation curve. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And let's pick the next one at the bottom here. and then that one. Okay, that's set up. Now notice one thing: when you're in building the actual surface, you don't have access to that top information. That actually will come back when you hit next. Okay, so that you can switch this. And let's actually try for this next one, switching it to 2 and 1, 2 generation curves and 1 rail curve. And that's going to be for this front nose part of our vehicle. So that's going to be 1 generation curve. It's down here at the bottom. And then here's going to be the second one where you pick here the curves. When you get a pop-up like this, look at what's there, and you can actually click and hold through these so you can get a quick visual representation of it. So I'm going to pick this one curve, 35 in my case. Yours may be different, and still got 1 rail curve. Okay, and once you get done, let me turn off the curves layer that we are rating body curves right now, and I just want to make sure, and let me get out of this tool as well, so pick nothing, pick object, that everything does intersect this way. Okay, now on some of these you can see here it doesn't go all the way out the same distance. That's not a problem. We'll in the next step tell the program what it should do with that. Alright, so there's kind of the first part of this, so that you can we'll pick it up from here with the next step.